Today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to use Adobe After Effects to create something like I made for the War of the Worlds for the YouTube versions. So I have Adobe After Effects open. It is CC 2018, and we're going to create a couple new compositions. So we're going to have new composition. It's going to be 1920 pixels by 1080 pixels, which is kind of the generic. Right now it's set for 20. We don't really want 20. We want it the length of our audio. But actually what we're going to do is we're going to just go over, just going to go over here, pull this down to a new composition, and boom! What we have just done is this is the size and length of our audio. So if we play this,
and Clarion Broadcasting
we have the audio. Adobe After Effects is a little different with, if it's not properly rendered, the audio will not properly sound. So we might have some really weird audio issues today. Yay. So our next step is we're going to actually create an actual new composition. We're going to call this our text. Even though this is what the audio is from War of the Worlds, we're going to do it like we're doing the shadow, because I'm excited about that. We're not doing that, but I like the shadow, and it's a great name. So let's say the shadow. So we have it on Futura, and it's condensed bold. Let's find something else that, we're going to actually 3D this quick and do basic, very bland, boring 3D, because that's what I did for War of the Worlds. So I have it on American typewriter. We have it, let's put it to regular, and it's at 400, which is really huge. We could leave it white, but let's make it kind of an off-white. Yeah. Let's make sure our anchor point is in the center, just in case we are doing any rotation stuff. We want to make sure that it shows up properly. And then this is the part that is kind of the hard part. So on our composition, we want to go into our composition settings, and then we're going to check 3D renderer. We want it on Cinema 4D. You could do classic 3D, but we want Cinema 4D. I've been told to ignore Ray Trace 3D because it crashes computers. Going to click OK. And then on this, we're going to click this little box here that allows this layer to be manipulated in 3D. And this creates your computer to go really slow, by the way, so you might want to do this last. But we're doing it first to show it how it's done. With geometry options, we're going to make the extrusion depth a bit more than it was. We can't really see our extrusion, even though it's there. We can see it a little bit, but we're going to want to make this a bit more obvious that it's 3D. So we're going to add a light. So we're going to add layer new light, and we're going to create a spotlight, and we have the color and all that, which is all good. You can mess with these, and now we have an actual light. We can just move this, and move this out a bit more. And now we have a really cool title for the shadow. Dun 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 dun. It's kind of really pink, so let's change this to actual white. Yeah, it's a little bit better. And now we have some shadows on the shadow. So let's go back to our actual composition that we want to work in, and we're just going to drag this composition into it. It's called pre-composing. So now we have
Clarion Radio and its affiliated stations.
Some audio on this beautiful 3D thing. And our 3D thing, though, is way shorter than our audio. So we're going to go back into our text, and we're going to make sure we're going to go into our composition settings, and then we're going to make the length of this be 10 minutes to make sure we have enough of it. And then we can go back in here. Still not long enough, no. So going back into text, composition settings, and then adding like 5 more minutes onto it, which should be enough. Yep, there we go. And now we have made sure that the shadow is throughout the whole thing. It shows up. Why is it not showing up? Oh yes, because our text isn't there the whole time. So we need to zoom out and then just pull these out all the way. There we go. You can see why it's important to know what you're doing. And it's still not there, which is kind of weird, but that's okay. It's because it's still really short. Okay. Doing this again. Yay. Okay. And now it's there the whole time. Yes! So now we have our title, which we could go into save frame as, and that way we wouldn't have to render the 3D every time we use it. But then we're going to go into an effect. So we want a solid. So we're going to grab a new solid. And let's make it blue. It doesn't really matter. And on this solid, we are going to be putting an effect called Expression Generate Audio Waveform. And now we have this little line that's hot pink. We're just going to move it under because that's how we want it. And then all we have to do is connect going into our audio waveform in our effects panel here. We go to audio layer, to our audio, and it will connect.
Clarion Radio and its
And now everything that shows up on this little line here is the audio that's playing in a visual form.
The War.
And let's quickly change these colors so that way they're not horrible to look at. I'm doing a very noir look.
Clarion Radio and its affiliated stations present
The Shadow by whoever wrote The Shadow. Yes. And now this plays for the whole thing. The last thing I did for the War of the Worlds is I put an opacity on it so the text fades in. Just going to go inward. We're going to, once the audio starts moving, about there, click. Okay. Going to click a keyframe. And then we're just going to move this out and then scrub the opacity down to 0. And now it will fade in.
Radio and its affiliated stations present The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells.
Hey, yeah.
Ladies and
There's one last thing I want to change, and that's just kind of a technical thing, and I just want to change the kerning of this shadow a bit. So we're going to go back into this. It's not going to really affect anything too bad, but we're just going to move this W in a bit, because it's driving me nuts that it's so out there. Yay, the shadow. I'm just going to move the shadow back into the center. Yay. Okay. Now we could export this by going into Composition, Add to Render Queue. And we have best settings and lossless, and then we want the output to our proper place, which is in our tutorials. The Shadow, episode 1. And we save, and then we're ready. We can click render. I'm not going to click render because rendering can take anywhere from a few minutes to a couple hours. And I don't want the chance that it's going to take a couple hours. So that's everything, though, to create something like what we did for War of the Worlds. You can do this with a lot of different types of shows. You can do it for if you have a podcast going on Clarion Radio and you wanted to go onto Clarion Broadcasting YouTube's channel, or you have a PSA and you just want a visual to go along with it, before I go, I should let you know that you can actually change this up a bit more even. Let's go back to our deep blue solid to the effects controls. And we can make this into lines, but we can also do dots. Let's go back to a place where it's actually a lot of, let's zoom in so you can see this.
Chicago, Illinois.
So we have some dots going instead of, let's mute this so I can talk over it. So we have dots going instead. We can do, you have a digital thing. We have lines, which is what we were using. And you can also, you can usually actually move this more. See? Oh yeah, we can make this go across. Just go really tiny. So you can really change how this is supposed to look and how different it's gonna be. See? That's just like too bright now. Wow. So mess around with it, have fun. Have a good day.